Mm.
And the things I went to go look up, to listen to provide support in my own being, that was pretty cool. One of them was a video that was recorded by or live streamed from Jesse. I believe it was about 9 or 10 months ago. And it was like a grounding. And then I looked up a book that I had listened to twice already, and I found the link for that, and that was the one, "The Power of Now" by Eckhart Tolle. And I found a copy that was just recently released online on YouTube that the publisher has put out, because there's people have done many versions, because the original version I listened to was an old one that was dictated by Eckhart Tolle, but they've done a new one. And it was just really, that's when I realized how coming here, it's not just coming here, listening and walking away and say, okay, been there, done that, but how it sometimes can resonate and have an effect to things we think about and things that we do later on in the day that are out of norm of our normal thinking and processing, how the the impact of coming to this group has on us every day when we do come.
Thank you, Annette.
Thank you. Thank you for this platform, for the conversations.
Mm. We are just preparing ourselves for the tough conversations that are coming.
As we've been practicing this day by day, it changed from being a practice to being a becoming. This is who we are now. It's not something we put an effort into. It's just who we are.
And
Getting, sorry.
Can you please finish?
Oh, I would just say getting known with ourselves, with our true selves. Question, Annette. What was the name of that book you said you listened to?
The Power of Now, and
Oh,
it's by Eckhart Tolle.
no. Sounds like my book. Sounds like being the present.
Yeah, it's online. It's available on now. Sorry, The Power of Now. I said that right? The Power of Now.
Yeah, the power of now.
Okay, I'm going to copy the link. I'm going to put it in the chat if that's okay with Jesse.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hmm. It says it's not available anymore
Oh,
because the YouTube account that the video is connected to has been closed. Or something like that. It says it in Danish.
I'm going to check to see if it's working on my end. Oh, you're kidding. It was available yesterday. Oh, see, I started listening to it yesterday and got in chapters, and now you can't listen to it. That's rotten.
That's a bummer. It might have been a
Yeah.
copyright strike or something like that.
Well, the publishers came on and said that they were the publishers and that they were putting this out.
Oh,
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting, because I just went to the folder where I put it in, and there's 3 unavailable videos overnight.
Wow.
Mhm. And yet all this other rubbish remains on YouTube.
Yeah, just look up cats playing piano and you'll find lots.
Yes. Or howling huskies, right? So what I've done, I've gone over to his website, and you can buy the book.
Yeah.
So my word this morning is processing. It's the awareness of breakthroughs and the effect thereafter. It lasts for a period of time, almost like as the breakthrough is settling in. I don't how to explain it. Well, I'll explain it yesterday.
Like the breakthrough is becoming us.
Mm.
We're becoming it. One thing is to be aware of the breakthrough. Another thing is to practice it enough until it's who you are.
Mm. Yeah, it's in that becoming the breakthrough we've let go. And so now there's a new, like we let go of that pattern and we're creating something new. Man, I'm just to explain processing.
So, Jesse, did you say that today was the preparation of conversations that one needs to have? Did I understand that?
Yeah, the breakthroughs are preparing for future situations. Yes.
Okay.
I said specific. So my breakthrough allowed a conversation to happen yesterday. That right happened yesterday, and it was in the processing that it took place. Now, was the outcome just amazing? Yes, and no. Like, no, because it didn't fix it all, right? Uh, but yes, because it's just the beginning. In my close, deep relationships that are important. So it's like part of my pattern that broke through yesterday was holding our relationship, right? It was in the relationship. No, my breakthrough created a different space. What normally would have been an escalating fight didn't reach that level. And it was in such a way that it could be just let go. So it was just a realization of the becoming, like, oh, there's a situation I normally couldn't control myself with. Meaning I would escalate into anger. And when I do that, everything constricts, and I'm not open. And it tends to get the same with the other party. And I could really hear how they saw it. I could really hear their trigger. And how they were making me their trigger. You know, this thing what we call the wounding, right? Wounding identity.
I find it interesting that you were able to observe and notice that they were making you their trigger. As opposed to reacting to them being triggered.
I caught that too in that.
So what did that feel like for you, Jesse? When you realized that or noticed that?
I could see deeper into the pattern, right? So I could see a deeper level into it. It's like mine, yours, and ours. Like it always affects ours. But you have yours and I have mine. And in a relationship, that's what either comes together or doesn't. Now, that's not always that, though. It gets out of order sometimes. So I was trying to do the opposite of my tendency, which was to escalate the anger. And we did, but in a much more helpful than harmful way. and it was because I could be more present in the moment of, oh, this is coming, and I could listen.
I've sort of found a new approach to dealing with angry people. I question their anger, say, do you feel any better putting me down? I'm not trying to pick a fight. This is just a normal question. Actually make them think about it themselves.
Mm.
And it's actually been working pretty well for me. I get to practice it with my son.
Mm.
And it sort of gives them an insight into themselves and figures out, because anger don't serve people even out in the real world. If they walk around angry, they normally get anger back. If people aren't like us, that says, well, I'm not jumping into that trap. It is a trap for themselves.
So I'm having a reflection of times where I didn't recognize or identify myself as the trigger. But I'm thinking I could be, is still under development, is that when someone is making you their trigger, as I reflect on those times, I feel like they were trying to make it my fault that they had a trigger and they were deflecting their own disturbance on me as a sense of manipulating me.
Mm.
And so we don't really, or I would not have really tried to be somebody's negative trigger. And I think that I would just like modulate my power to not be so, to be less, like my power was triggering them when it wasn't even intended to trigger them. But I think what's important, what I've recognized here and to be aware of going forward, is just in knowing that somebody let me be their trigger is them really not being responsible for their own power. So you stand, let me invite you to stand on 5 by what you said, Heinz, with the asking them a question, and it helps them put themselves back on 5.
Yep.
Without threatening them. And whether they let that be a trigger or not, I still stand in my own power, not to be less and not to necessarily be louder, but to be at peace in my pause and invite them to be in theirs.
And if they release you from being their trigger, they'll find their own inner peace. So you're allowing them to become their own peace.
Yes, but realizing that release is their release of me. It's not me being released from them because they don't have me anyway.
Exactly.
But before they had me. They roped me into their drama and I responded by being less instead of standing in my own.
And it's funny, one of the biggest trigger for people is actually telling the truth. Then you should ask the opposite. Well, would they rather you lied to them?
And what is truth? Is your truth is your perception of
Yeah.
what truth is, and it doesn't diminish what their present truth may be. It's just a conversation.
Exactly.
Hey,
Mhm.
Mona.
Morning, Mona. And good morning, Cinderella, by the way.
Good morning. Nice. Powerful good morning.
We love that power. Mm.
So I'm still resonating here with my question of, I think now 3 or 4 weeks. What if love was not like anything I ever thought it was? And now I replace the word love with power. What if power was nothing like anything I ever thought it was?
Mm.
Because I got a
Listen,
nice wobble on what power was. I'm sorry, go ahead, please.
I was going to say, what about if you were to take Jesse's word of authenticity and switch that out?
Mm.
How would that resonate?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Can you say it?
Being authentic.
What if authenticity wasn't like anything I ever thought it was before? Is
Mhm.
that the switch out you're talking about?
Yes, yes.
Mm.
It's
I
different.
Yeah, I'm not there. Share that with me. How does it resonate with you?
Well, I think it's different for everybody, but I think part of it is if you have been an individual that has been primarily authentic in your own being, growing up authentic, it's going to resonate different than somebody that had to create a different version of authenticity to survive.
Mm.
It's just like growing up, you experience love in one way. You witness love. Like for me, I witnessed love in a marriage of my grandparents, and I idolized that.
Mhm.
And that is what my vision of marriage was. And that is what I try to create.
Mhm.
What I, and, and yet it's not what it ended up being. For me, what I realized was my version of love was very different from my partner's.
Mhm.
And then I questioned when we got married, did he actually love me or did he love the experience of me? And
Mm.
Mhm.
whereas authenticity, I believe, is more of the being itself. Can you be yourself, your true self, or do you have to create beings or part-time personalities, which we
Mm.
know happens, but to what degree to have a different version of you because being your true authentic being is not safe because the people around you have told you that you can't be that way.
I like that perspective.
How do you know your authentic self without, you know, exercising whatever, however you are in the experiences that you have. So again, it's like, are you my mother? Am I kind? Am I mean? Am I jealous? Am I greedy? Am I sneaky? Am I um, some type of character? Am I a jokester? Do I make people laugh? Am I an artist? What am I? We don't know these. Well, from my perspective, I think that we don't know these things until we experience and try them on and evolve through different times and other people's personalities and situations, right?
So there's the question of, are we approaching that question logically, or are we approaching that question emotionally? Because the emotions with the body, logically with the brain. And if we approach it just logically, we can have an answer that makes sense. But are we listening to what charges or triggers or twinges are occurring in our body? Because is it a charge that feels good, or is it a charge that goes, oh, when you say that? And that, so when I am saying something that I feel is authentic, I feel grounded. I don't feel a charge. I just feel like I'm in between plus and minus. In that part of observing and resting at the same time.
Ready to arm.
So when I'm not as authentic, because I have to choose my words then, I notice a charge, and it's like a protective charge. Because I'm trying to pick the words like I'm trying to do right now so that it comes out in the way that I'm trying to think about it. And it's not being that I'm not authentic, but I'm going into an area of explaining something that I'm not as familiar with. And maybe because it's uncharted in a way. Am I saying it right? But am I saying it because it's me and not, let's say, a tagline of something that I've heard other people say or whatever? Because it's so easy to pick up a tagline and just throw it out there because you hear it, you say it, and you can detach from it.
I feel like in you choosing your words that you are simultaneously listening to your heart to do your best to ensure that you are speaking your heart, even though you may be grasping words from the intellect, but it's like you're using the intellect to express the heart. So that's what I feel when you're speaking, and I feel that you're being as pure in your authenticity as you can, even as you explore the words that express your heart.
It's well put, Cinderella.
So the authenticity that was shared is when your words are truthful and you believe what you say.
It's not just believe logically what you say, but what your body, your nervous system believes too.
That's right. And what is it that we listen to and hear, right? It is like it gave the word authenticity is what we're listening to, but we're not judging authenticity. We're listening, because what we're listening for is the difference between you said it and do you believe it?
Authenticity is a way of being, eh?
It
Yeah.
is. And in this video, the claim of it was it's 4,000 times more powerful than love. Like that emotion of authenticity,
Interesting, eh?
which
Blew my mind.
I can see it, sense it, feel it, because it was like it's like Joe was in it yesterday, right at the end of the call. It's like that was a demonstration of Joe's authenticity. We call it from the heart, right? Heart centered in our heart. We call it that, but it's like the act of it and the name to describe it is like authenticity.
To be a heart-centered creator
That's
is
right.
to be authentic, your true self. Really?
Yeah, it is. Yes, I think so. It's like to
And in the word,
open the doors to that.
and in the word authentic, if you are a loving person, that is your authenticity.
Yeah. That's who we all
So
really
that-
are.
Yeah, there's more to it being authentic. Because authentic has the emotion that is you, the emotion you choose to be your core.
Okay, I need to roll back the reel a little bit. Um, a lot. Jesse, you said something was 4,000 times more. What do you know what you said?
The feeling of authenticity is 4,000 times stronger than love.
Ooh,
The energetic
feeling
measurement of it.
Yeah.
authenticity is 4,000 times
This was
more
measured
powerful than love.
Yeah, actually.
measured from 25,000 people.
So that just expands like my capacity of the answers that I open to be aware of about love.
Yeah.
It just went, it wasn't a breakthrough, it was like an atomic bomb. And all of that explosion is so much to discover. Like no limits.
People, and we have to get to the door of love first.
Yeah.
So if it's higher on a scale then and it's higher than love, then yes, we have to understand love before we could move to the next level.
But it's the power of the love. Like I think it is so worthy to just sit in knowing like the depth and the emotion, the power of love, and that I actually get a chance to harness that and replicate it
Yes,
in myself for the world.
that's right. Yep. Because you can't be authentic if you don't love yourself.
That's true.
I just had a realization too that authenticity comes from congruency when we're in alignment within and without. We're being congruent. And when we're congruent, we're being authentic.
Mhm. So it's you believe what you say. Now that's easy for like
It's easy to say, it's another thing to do or to be.
yeah. So our words, it's when our words are true. Now, mm, so when our words are truthful and you believe what you say, it's two levels there. Now the thing of it is like, oh, we believe our words are truthful, but where did that truth originate? Is that a wounding truth? Or is it a soul truth? And that's the separation between the ego and the heart. In Sindrel, it was like you listed an array of emotions. You know, the sad, anger, it's like all of those, and it's like, is the emotion you experience the truth? See, truth in itself is really sticky because we have a truth of what is, and there's a truth of what is. But how can they be different? They're the same words.
Well, it's like Annette was saying earlier, being married, having an impression of love, a good marriage,
That's right.
coming from that place. But yet,
Mhm.
once in the marriage, that person that she was married to had such a different dynamics of love, the kind of love that would give a reason for people to get married and make that commitment to each other.
That's
But in
right.
her mind, she's committing to one thing, and in his mind, he's committing to something else.
And it's like asking the fish, how's the water?
Yes.
And it becomes two forces that collide instead of one flow state for both.
That's right. Because one's fixed. One, it is like, so there's a version, and Annette had it, and it's like Annette had a version that marriage needed to be this. That was her truth. But it was from her experience, and it could only be one way. That's the danger. When it gets fixed into just one way, I will call that your truth. It is not the truth, it's your truth.
When does your truth become the truth?
When you can see other alternatives, when you can allow other possibilities. Really, and it comes down to looking at ourselves and saying, oh, I could be wrong. I could be just fixing it to be this way. Now, how often do we like to go around and say, I'm a bad person, or I'm not I'm not right? Meaning right. I like, If marriage isn't what I thought it was, then I must be wrong. And we all have degrees in which we'll fight being wrong or fight being bad. And it's like you can believe it to the core because that's your experience, but it's like, I mean, is 99.999% of the people out to get you? Is that a truth? Yes and no. If you think 99%, 99.99% of the people are going to hurt you, that's your truth. And we call it, that's how you will orient. That's how you will orientate. That's how you'll become. And if they're out there to hurt you, then you're going to protect. That's the concept. That's the outcome. And so then it becomes, I protect against 99.99% of what's out there. Well, how do you know what the 0.001 is to let in? Because that's all you're letting in.
That's how we create a belief system.
And is it true? Because it's your belief?
It's a belief system, but you can always, the belief system will always be there, but you can shift your focus to a different belief system.
That's right. So then it's like, then it becomes, well, then it's not true. Oh God, I can't have that. Well, I got it. You got to be truthful. Well, you're not. Oh God.
And that's why the acronym for belief system is BS.
Yes.
I absolutely love how you put it, Jesse. It's really, but
Thank you, Jesse.
yeah, the opposite of truth is lies, right? So it's the lies of this and deception of the society and the lies that we tell ourselves, that are blocking for the truth.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
The
yes.
breakthrough is, there can only be a breakthrough when we break down all the lies, all the.
It's like breaking down the beliefs.
Sorry?
It's kind of like breaking down the beliefs, because a belief is like a B, lie, F.
So I think that there's a bridge. I mean, what I know, I know. What I don't know, I don't know. I'm not aware of. And so what I know from where I am, I can formulate a belief, a truth. But it's when I become aware. It's not as doesn't necessarily mean that so what I know is a lie, or it's not right, or it's not a decent thing of being truth. I think it's a structure, and I think structures evolve or have the opportunity to evolve our belief system as we continue to be open to learn and grow and know. I didn't know everything at 3 years old and be aware of everything that I knew.
Unfortunately, most of our beliefs are based back to them.
That they all are. They all are. Until we look at them, and we would call that awareness, awakening. Yeah. Right. And there's, if we're fixed on one thing, we're fixed on many things. And if we're fixed on the truth and fixed on being right, then there's no space to look at that belief.
That's why questioning yourself is such a good thing. My favorite question is, does this serve me?
Yeah.
And if it's a no, then what can I do to make it serve me? Then I have to dive deeper.
And sometimes I just have to let stuff rest.
Yeah.
I come to a point where my I don't know is I don't know. And I have to let it rest and marinate. And at some
Once
point
it's
in time, some information will come to me to bring it back up again. Go ahead, Heinz.
Oh, rest is a great thing when you're doing this, because you can take water and oil. If it's moving, it's really hard to separate water and oil. But if you let it rest a minute, the oil will lie on the top, the water on the bottom. Some things take longer time to rest, but it will normally separate. So you can sort of figure it out later once it's separated.
True. So back to the marriage. One has one perspective, one has another perspective. And when you let it come together and both be as authentic as they are, you end up with, if they're the same, yes. If they go together, they blend well together, they make something well together, great. But if it doesn't, the oil separates from the water.
It's I don't think we could see it if we didn't understand structure. So for people that don't understand structure, I don't think they can see it, because all they do is they do their pattern, and then they will respond to whatever response is to that pattern. Because we've all learned, we've had a lifetime of learning how to get it the way we want it, which then becomes predictable.
Until the structure doesn't really serve you anymore.
That's right. But the observer can anticipate it to be predictable. And who wants to be predictable?
There are some things I would like to be predictable. That if I do this, I'll get that. But in reality, so many structures broke away from me entirely. And like all at one time, like that didn't work. I did this, that didn't work. I did what I was supposed to do, that didn't work.
Yeah,
I believe this, that's all a fallacy. All the structures came crumbling down. And now it's creating systems and structures that do work, so I don't have to keep creating some of the mundane stuff. There's some things I want to count on. I want to count on that if I put love out, love comes back to me. I want to count on that.
Yeah, that's why we have to have truths. we want to count on the truths, but we're counting on our beliefs, not the truths. That's a huge difference. And because we have a funny or a fuzzy understanding of truth. Because if it's not truth, then it's a lie. And it's like, well,
when we're working with other people, our truth has to match.
let's say that again, Heinz.
When we're working with other people, our truth has to match their truth. It's true that if you
Right.
use painting and paint the house will be painted. But it ain't true if you use your color red, it'll become the blue house they wanted.
Well, then it becomes, well, does truth mean we have to agree?
Yeah. If you're gonna have a common place where you can call it a truth that serves both of you.
But for me, that's where compassion comes in.
Mm.
So I
And
haven't
deep
vetted
listening.
this, but
Deep
sometimes
listening.
a lie can carry you to the truth.
Yeah.
So that wasn't crazy for you guys.
No.
Because I had
Oh.
to test it as it was coming out.
Many
But-
people who have become the best at their field have been telling themselves the entire life, I'm the best football player ever made. And they became it. But it weren't true when they started saying it. They made it true.
Good example. But there's those other kind of lies that are this is your mother and father, and you find out that your father's not your father.
Mm-hmm.
And you've based
Well,
your whole, wonderful assumption of life, living in love on the fact that this person was your father. But that can carry you through a structural time transition. And now you get this truth.
Mm.
well, there's more to that truth. If that man has been like your father your entire life, who cares about biology?
You'd be surprised.
Yes.
Yeah.
And why? Well, see, it's
Yeah.
charged. It's charged.
Yeah.
And it's like, really? Did it really change? Does it really change anything? Because it came from unknown to known. Did it really change anything?
No.
Like, look at the truth of it. Did it really change anything?
It changes. I think it changes a lot. For this type of an example, it's like you've lied to me my whole life of telling me something that you told me from your truth that you're my dad. Yes, I got it. I respect that. I know it. But what about the other truth that I have another dad? And maybe these things that are in me or not, now I understand the unraveling of certain aspects of my thoughts and beings. That person didn't have to be in my life, but at least if I knew that I wasn't crazy when I had this hollowness, that there's something not connecting.
Yeah.
Now, if I knew that that person existed, and that is, at least it's a truth. There's a knowingness there.
Again, that's a mother's choice. Would it serve a kid to tell you, this is not your biological father? He ran off and didn't want anything to do with you. How would that serve you?
So I'm going to add something to what Cinderella's saying because this resonates with me very much. It's a truth with omissions.
Yes.
Mm,
Thank
yeah.
you.
And truth with omissions doesn't happen in just the circumstance that she has. And that is a very major thing because the questions come up, well, who am I really then? And I was put in this relationship with this person and he beat me all the time. So it can flip the other way. The mother made a decision, but what is the consequence of that? Truth with omissions can happen in any relationship too. And when one
Yes.
finds out that there was other information that was pertinent, that would have changed the direction of a decision or even a path of life, one feels very robbed that one didn't have the actual full truth
Yeah,
Mm,
I
Yeah.
would agree.
because somebody else decided for
Yeah.
you what information they were going to give you, but it was your decision on something that you were doing for your own life. You
Thank you.
feel robbed.
Yes. Yes. Very well put. Very, very, very well put.
Again, it's a feeling, and it's like, so then I'm going to choose to feel robbed. Again, it's just one perspective that we settle on. It's just what the child did.
Yes and no for me, because what Sandrell was in this example, what Sandrell was speaking to for me that was very important is the experience that it's a physical experience that a child has of that disconnect, and not all children have it, but for those that do, it's not a perspective, it's a physical experience that they have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, truth or truth?
Yeah. Truth or truth. And for me, I feel like I want truth and truth. I mean, this can go in like many easy examples. So you're married. So one of the spouses has an affair. Omission. Does he tell the wife he's having an affair? No, he just omits it. He just omits it. But then it takes a choice away from the other person whether they want to continue any kind of relation going forward. If that wasn't their deal, they may not want to, or they may have other agendas, and maybe the marriage is based on business or something else. So, and if they can come to terms and choose that in their own, both in their own truth, that's great. But when you don't have all the truth and someone is living a whole ultra existence, the acceptance of the chemistry between the two people that are supposed to be in this mutual marriage together, you're like, why, what is it? Okay, we'll work it. Well, but if you don't have the whole truth, then it really takes the foundation of making choice.
Well, so does the truth. Takes away the foundation for making a choice. Now here, in that situation, it's no longer a marriage, even though they both think it is. That's the truth. It's no longer what we call it as a marriage. When one's thinking they're married and one's having an affair. Right? But it could be both of them say that's what a marriage is. One has her view of it and he has his view of it. Now,
But-
isn't it like from the point is like more than likely the marriage for him, it wasn't what he was looking for. So he went and found another one. Yes, the fact that that's omitted right out of it, but then it's like no longer a marriage from how we define a marriage.
Right. But be it a marriage or anything, when there's that kind of intention is taken out of an agreement,
Mm,
when the truth evolves into something else, that needs to be brought to the table.
And see, this is always my position is to say, look, we've got to see another point.
That's why you
can't.
bring it to the table.
That's why I go to 2 points. It's like, here's your point and here's another point, because the truth will come between them. Because you can always go back to your choice and say, you're right. No, this is my truth. Wonderful. But I'm going to poke holes in what yours is like, that's your truth. And it's like, I don't see it as your truth. It's not true. I don't like, yes, your history tells it's true, but I don't see it still.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't mean that it's not.
So I'm going to add something here. It's when one is in a marriage, one is also opening up vulnerability. And that is where it stings, because your vulnerability is based on loyalty or truth. And when one is delivered, one believes the truth, one opens up one's vulnerability until such time that truth is questioned and confirmed, either positive or negative.
Mm-hmm.
And when it is confirmed that it is positive, one continues to open up their vulnerability and believes that the truth was provided. And it's not until afterwards when one finds out that that was all a sham, that what they thought was truth was not truth. Because if that person asks the other one, are you having an affair? And that person says, no, I'm not. And they find out that an affair had been going on for a long time thereafter. That is where it becomes a huge mix master inside oneself. And that's where betrayal comes in.
Mm. Yeah, and all of these things require someone else to do them to you. Because you don't do it to yourself. That's weird.
Well, the thing is, in our own reality, we ask the question because there's something in a situation that is posing the question, are you having an affair? And if the other person says no, they are creating a reality that they're not, when in fact they know that they are. So in that case, this is a situation where somebody else is imposing a reality, a false reality to you.
Mm.
And so you continue to live your own reality based on the answer, believing it is truth.
wanting to believe that it's truth.
Yeah, or wanting to believe it's true.
And so
I mean,
there goes the integrity of the structure.
I think though, when it's the wanting to believe it's true, there's still some form of doubt then, of
Yep.
question.
Mhm.
And so then it's trying to find the answer to confirm yes or no. So in some cases, yes, we can make up a story, but in other cases, somebody else makes up a story.
And so also in my, you can see, so it's like, even like through our dialogue, would you say I agree or disagree with you?
I have neither agree or
Ah,
disagree.
yeah.
I have just a different, that you are looking at it from a different perspective,
Yes.
but I'm not getting what your personal opinion is.
Yes. Now that's a huge difference between you got my back and you don't.
Mhm.
Mhm. It is.
Because like what your guys are like, the scenario in which you guys are talking about, right? Comes to a point where people will make choices on what's best for them, and certain, like a choice to continue a marriage like that, takes tremendous forgiveness, and one that may or may not ever happen through a lifetime, and there's one that still takes tremendous forgiveness whether it happens or not. So no matter what happens, our best bet is the forgiveness from it.
Mhm.
So that is always the best move. It doesn't mean we make the best move.
And that's a process too. Learning that forgiveness, learning to forgive, learning that empathy, exercising and practicing it, and going through whatever feelings or experiences that you go through to get to that eventual place of forgiveness or peace.
Mm. It's the peace that's so important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And the forgiveness
And
serves you way more than it serves them.
and yet I still don't know what forgiveness is.
Oh, mm-hmm.
because one side tells you forgive, because they did this bad thing, they're human being, get on with your life, forget it, move on. And for me, that lights a charge inside me. It's like, okay, so they did all this to me and I'm supposed to turn a blind eye while they carry on happy-go-lucky in their life, or so it appears to me. And I have to continue to carry this heavy cannonball with me for the rest of my life. But yeah, hey, I can call that forgiveness.
No.
And
Do you mind if
yet
I?
on the other side is you forgive yourself. Well, what's forgiving yourself? Because in the end, you still have those skeletons in the closet and you work through them.
Yeah.
But can you live your life? Can you live your life without a charge? If they come back in, if they enter in, or their presence, that they are nearby, or that somebody mentions their name. But that is more so allowing and eventually accepting the situation.
Forgiving is
Hey,
releasing the
Allison
emotion
or Annette.
attached to the story. That's why we say forgiven, not forgotten.
Yeah.
You gotta
Is it okay
release
if
your
I?
own thinking about it. Yeah, go ahead, Will.
Yeah. Is it okay if I share a little bit of some experience I've had in this subject, Annette?
Sure.
Okay. I hear you, and I know what that feels like, to have that weight, that burden. And I've been through divorce myself, and my experience of forgiveness is you don't forget the event at all. You never really forget it. But it's the charge that can lessen. And what I'm talking about is the emotional charge around it, like the anger, the frustration, the hurt, all the pain and the suffering around it can lessen. And that brings me back to the Recode, and that's pretty much what the Recode has done for me. It's helped me to release the pain around those events that happened. And I've actually been able, like, I saw my ex-wife this year, and we actually had her over, and my wife it was a little awkward for my wife, but it's just the way things played out. My dad died and stuff, and so she was here. We all had dinner together. My sister, my ex, because my sister and my ex are still friends, and there wasn't any resentment. There's a little bit of awkwardness because my wife, my current wife, but as far as the resentment, it's all gone for me, and I really am grateful to the Recode for that. So I don't know if that serves you in any way, what I've shared from my experience, but I hope that supports you a little bit.
Thank you for
So,
sharing that, Will. It
yeah.
helps me.
Well, good.
So
It's
as
easy
far
to carry that burden,
yeah.
It's sometimes hard to let it release the pain around it.
So the event itself of
Here,
him
Annette.
leaving and all that, I've dealt with that part.
Yeah,
But it's
Annette's
the
not dealing.
forgiveness part. It's the forgiveness part. Like, I don't know what true forgiveness really is.
Yeah, and the mind can block you on that.
No, yeah. So it's like it's like we're having it's not like Annette is wanting this breakthrough. That's not like what she's
Okay.
saying. What we're doing is we're having a conversation of how people like think about it. And here's what I'm testing with is like my automatic is to help people see as much space as they can, and people then will make up the assessment that I disagree with them. I don't support them. So that was the source of my wobble yesterday. It was like this fight we had. That was what I could hear. And my point is like, well, is like whatever you're making up is true, and whatever the other side is making up is their truth. So what you're saying is your truth is more important than their truth. And yes, because they're fucking wrong is what she says. Right now, Annette, I'm not going at you. I'm going at your logic around the forgiveness, if you're okay, but I'm not aiming this at you. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
All right. Well, the gal that the guy cheated on the wife. The wife wasn't giving the guy what he needed. So you want to hold him back? Now, just my response to it that way, right, shows my inhumanity, and it shows, does that mean I support the guy did the right thing?
Oh, no.
Sure sounded like it.
Not
Well,
necessarily, though. Yeah, no.
But
It's just
my point is
perspective.
that look, the lady doesn't want to look that the fucking guy doesn't want her anymore.
Then he should release himself from it before he
Amen to
goes
that,
somewhere
without a
else.
doubt. Without a doubt. I will agree with you, and I will, if I'm to take a stand, you will know my stand.
He just went about it the wrong effing way.
But it was his
Well,
right way.
yes. So when I do an autopsy and I go back, I realized that while I was pregnant with my third child was when that started. So we had over like a 30-some-year marriage, and yet into year 5 or 6 is when that started.
I'm so sorry, Annette. You've been through
But that's only the autopsy of it now, going back, right? Looking at stuff. And it started with a lie.
Yeah.
A massive lie.
Oh yeah.
Is what that one was. Because
Mhm.
that one was the one where I wanted to go back to school.
Mm.
And there was when I asked him for help on that and asked him if he can check with his boss to amend his travel schedule, because he traveled a lot. He was gone like 2-3 weeks at a time at the time.
Mm.
And then home for 2, and then again. I asked if for a certain period of time if he could amend his travel so I can go back to school for a short period of time. And the answer that came back is his boss says no. 2 years later at a company picnic, the boss said to me, "Have you ever thought about going back to school and expanding your career into different areas?" And I said, "I did, but you said no." And that's when I found out that the boss was never asked.
Mm-hmm.
So here was a lie that changed the trajectory of my career, of my life,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that somebody else made. And so when I go back now and think about it, so that was 27 years ago. That was the first day of the end of my marriage.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm please just be with me here in this one. And it's
Sure.
like, what makes yours righter than his?
What makes it righter is because I'm living my life.
Yep.
And I'm supposed to cooperate as a partner in what we're calling a family to work together as a team. So my contribution on my part of the team, on me and how I show up, I'm right for me.
You can be right, but I don't get to be.
So if it's asking if it was right to tell the lie, so the question then came, I did ask, why did you not tell me the truth? And for 27 years during our marriage, he never told me the truth. And when the day that he said that he was leaving, that was the first question I asked. And he says, "I knew you would ask that question." And he has to this date never responded with the answer. So is he right?
He wasn't integral with you.
No. And it seems,
Feels like you don't.
is it possible to see it from beyond a position of right and wrong?
It feels like he doesn't know the answer.
He knows the answer. It hurts his heart that the truth is his answer. And I think the truth has to break and hurt for him to even break through and come through.
Wasn't he doing what he thought was right?
Right for who?
For
For
him.
who's true? Yeah, but for
him.
his, yeah, so he
Wasn't he?
deliberately lied to protect himself, obviously.
Or maybe not to hurt you.
No.
For somebody who wants to expand their career? Oh, come on, Jesse.
Right.
If your wife says, no, you cannot take another freaking course ever again, under my watch, you can't ever, you cannot expand your brain and learn anything.
Look, you guys are assuming I'm taking a position. I'm just revealing a charge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's amazing what the result of the charge is.
Look at all the energy of the charge. You're revealing the charge, absolutely, and this is what comes out.
And this is what happens in families and relationships where people are standing on their rightness.
Okay, I'm going to say something. Yes, Jesse, your trajectory of questions for me and especially your expression, that you want to give space around anything that you see that is clamped down. That there's something I'm going to remind you of, and you spoke about this, is the timing of when you start to open that space for the person. If they haven't been able to integrate into themselves yet what they need to integrate to feel empowered, if you come along and try and create space, they have to defend it.
Yeah.
That's my experience.
Thank you, Allison.
For myself, and watching when I've tried to do what you're doing.
That is not why. That's why we can't. That's why we have no choice in the moment of the intensities. Right?
Correct.
So like all the blood flows like to certain points. We're not relaxed. We're not at calm. So it's not the moment like when the house is on fire is not the time to rest.
Yeah.
Right? So my point is that that's why we practice this when it's not stressful. So in a way, what was just happening with that was, thank you, Annette. You were preparing me for my next conversation.
Wow.
Ooh.
I wasn't going at you.
Mm-hmm.
I was going at mine. Now it sure sounded like, and yes, Allison, timing and what you say matters, right? Our words matter. But if we're listening to the heart and the ego dance and trying to do our best with it, it comes out.
Ooh, the ego dance. The ego dance.
Yes. So basically, you have opened up the space for multiple sides to be voiced and observed.
Yeah.
Because I used to engage with it, and that's what I'm trying not to do.
Yes.
Trying not to.
I would like to chime in on the topic of forgiveness,
Oh, lovely. Lovely, Mona.
please. The thing about forgiveness is if you allow that charge to be there, you're giving that person power over you that they don't deserve, that they didn't earn, and they don't even know they have. So you're only hurting yourself.
That's a really good way of putting it.
So question. I know what you say is true for me. That you're giving a person that power. But when you get, for example, when you get around that person and that charged is so charged, it's an energy that you're really not familiar with honing in the power of being charged. So I like what Jesse just did. He put himself in a situation where he himself could practice engaging differently with giving the proper time and dance to the ego of himself and others. But sometimes we don't have that practice. We don't get to practice. It like comes upon us. And I remember being in the presence of someone where just everything about them made me feel anything except love. And because I eventually became aware of it, I learned to intentionally invoke self-love in their presence. And it even the thought of their name, I would have to go, okay, go to Sage, go to Love. But was I really giving that person power? I may have put the on switch in their hand, but they didn't even know that they had it in their hand. How revolting they were to me. But my ego wanted to let them know, you're revolting to me, wanted to judge them, condemn them, remove them, delete them. But that was ego. That was a charge. But I had to intentionally learn to go to choose something else when I was in the midst of that kind of a charge.
That's where forgiveness comes in. It's releasing the charge so the ego can tell the story, but the heart won't care about it. It's sort of like carefree. I've been bullied most of my life, and yeah, I can tell the stories, but I have no emotional attachment to it.
That's right.
It-
Who
it's
says a memory has to be tied to emotion?
Exactly. Release the
So
emotion.
Heinz, is that the point of forgiveness? When you have no emotion towards, you know it occurred, but you have
Yeah.
no emotion. Is that the point of forgiveness?
Yeah, sort of, because it's forgiven, not forgotten. It's the heart that forgives. It's the emotion you detach from.
Yeah.
And of course, when you put up a nail and hit it with a hammer and you hit your finger, it's gonna hurt like hell. But a year from now, you won't sit and look at that finger and say, "Oh my God, my finger hurts like hell."
Well said, Heinz.
You're still aware of hitting the finger a year ago.
Is that the point of forgiveness? I'm resting on
Yes.
that question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is for me, you guys. I like that.
When you drop
It's when
the
the
charge.
pain and suffering is over, and it's just a memory. You know, the emotion is like a level. You know, the level of emotion is way down, or it's just a
And it's
neutral.
and it's probably one of the really good things that guys are good for. Women, you should really take lessons. There's not very much we do well, but it's one of the things that we
Oh,
do.
some
So,
guys, some of us, maybe
so,
not, maybe not all.
like we all have our strengths, right? And sorry, but it's not one of yours.
Okay, so here's the thing for me. And I love what you said, Jesse.
You're
It's
such a button
true.
pusher, Jesse.
Yeah, no, I love what he said. It's very true. And I think I do agree. It is something that,
But
that
and
that
that's
in
why. And
general.
can I say this,
Yes.
Allison? And that's
Yes.
why you guys are amazing lovers.
Well,
That we wish we could.
Yeah.
Do you wish you could? You're speaking for a lot of them.
I think all of us, man, woman, like I don't draw, like even before the gender, I think we all have that urge for authenticities. Like I think that's the urge. Now, how we go about it is not the true us, but it's society's us, and that's what we've seen. But we forget that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the process us. It's the evolution of us. I'm not everything that I ever was ever before. Some of those things have fallen away.
Unless you can't forgive.
Unless you can't forgive.
Mm-hmm.
I think that forgiveness, I'm playing with this. So for me, it's been established. It's the point where you don't have those automated triggers. But for me, it's also empathy, which goes a little bit, for me, it takes it a little deeper. Like I can actually be practice a degree of empathy for that person when they present themselves still in that vein, to know that that's them. It's they're them, that they continue to hold on a structure to, as I had experienced that structure before. When it comes at me, that personality is in my, comes in my zone, is not only to have, not so much to have a detached feeling. It can be neutral, but in that composite of neutrality, have empathy as well. Just a little vanilla in the batter.
Mm. Well,
And
and if you can't provide empathy, which means you haven't experienced it, which means you can't connect to what it must really be like, because I haven't experienced a divorce. Yeah. And so if I can't be empathetic about it, and I haven't cheated, if I can't be empathetic about it, then I need to practice humility and wonder what it must be like from your point of view. No, deep listening is a big part of that. And when you're in a charged conversation that's heading towards a fight that's escalating, you can't do that.
Yep.
Now, you can practice to do that. And that's what you guys were helping me with this morning by saying shit I did not want to say. That's not what I needed to say to my wife, but it's the charge. The same words are coming from not the same, the different words will come from the same emotion. That's the beauty of playing this out.
Yeah, different words coming from the same emotion.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what we can
I
do
love these
together.
conversations.
So, Jesse, we will send you our bill.
He played us.
Yeah. It'll be $5,000.
Into the joint kitty.
What you say, Allison?
Into the joint kitty, because Heinz has also been earning $5,000. So we might as well start a joint kitty. We earn.
You all get your gold coin. I'm going to give you your gold coin. It'll show up as soon as the app's there. Your gold coin. There.
Jesse said, I'm gonna put myself in a hot seat.
Can I circle back to something is what has been said digested enough for me to circle back?
Please.
Yes, please.
Okay, so to go back to forgiveness, for me, with all our words, I always feel that there's a continuum. And there's a continuum for me with forgiveness, because it depends on the choice that you make for yourself at that point of where you drop the charge. So when you drop the charge, you're neutral. You as Hans said, you don't forget. So for me, still, even with the not forgetting, there is something that I refer to in terms of recognizing accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And that also always depends on the context, right? So these things weave, for me, they weave in and out. Or we weave in and out of them to be able to come to our truth, I guess. Right? And so one of the things that came to me, especially when Annette and Jesse were talking and about a marriage, where my mind went to was we are social beings, and we need to be able to connect and to collaborate. And that is why truth is such often such a big thing for us, because for us, truth is something that is stable. And you can't have really good collaboration if you don't have different points of stability. Those points don't have to stay the same, but they need to be present at different times, right? And so that's why a lie can be so counterproductive to collaboration.
Mm.
And so those were all the thoughts that were going through, for me, is like, what is this about truth and untruth, or truth and a lie? And that's what it's all tied up into for me.
Yeah. And there's no space in between a truth and lie.
Mm.
In the way that we usually deal with it, I would agree, yeah.
Yep.
Which
Yeah.
is why you're pointing out to be at a 5 and not to be at a 1 or a 10 is gives way more space. Way more space. Which is to be able to stay, not always, but to come from a place of neutrality. And in that neutrality, for me, the essence of it is compassion.
Mm-hmm.
And compassion is not always, how can I say this? Empathy and compassion for me are slightly different.
Yeah.
Empathy is more personal. Compassion is the soul. It's a soul-to-soul communication or experience.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
empathy,
it's the
personal.
essence. It's the essence of serving. Sorry, Allison.
Yeah, no. That's good.
Compassion is the essence, that serve that we all feel. That's the compassion.
Yeah.
To help another is compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And can I share one thing?
Mm-hmm.
That compassion is also, like passion meaning suffering. It's to be with the suffering, like welcoming the suffering, sitting with the suffering of the other person, and being okay with it. Not trying to change it, not trying to fix it, just sitting with them and sitting with it.
And can I
compassion.
add to that with the compassion?
Absolutely.
So the compassion is respecting the person for the full entity that they are, and that while I am holding space with you in this feeling, I fully recognize that your shit is your shit.
Yeah.
And your gift is your gift, and everything else of yours is you. But I respect and appreciate the uniqueness of you. I don't have to take it on and be it for you. I don't have to choose for you and expect you to live out a choice I make. You choose.
And as you forgive others, you release yourself from the emotional attachment. You shouldn't be emotionally attached to other people for something that happened a year ago or something. It's a waste of your emotions. Your ego likes to do it because then it can control your emotions, and it gets way more time online than when it's in control. But by saying, well, it happened. I'm happy now. Why should I let yesterday ruin the now?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I really liked, Sandra, when you made the statement respecting the uniqueness of you.
Mm-hmm.
And what came to me is a flash that has been my authenticity throughout time of respecting people am having relationships with or conversations with, is their uniqueness is there. It's their power. And I think that was a very powerful statement that you said, respecting the uniqueness of you. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree on it.
And I would like to add something. Wow. I've been enjoying myself. This is so much food for thought and for the heart.
Mm.
And thank you, everyone. I was thinking of to be of service is to be the observer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we can serve ourselves and others. Not be the judger.
Mm. To bear witness, hey, Chi?
So I'm going to go and engage in something I used to do as a kid, but I didn't have the same perspective of value of it. I'm going to go out and do people watching and see where am I judging and where am I allowing.
Oh, that's wonderful.
That's
one of the great things to do in the world. It's people watching. It's free, and if you don't judge, you get so much information about different identities, personalities, and whatever exists out there. So you can see what you want and what you don't want in your life.
Yes. When you catch your judger, you can see yourself. You can see the truth. You can begin to explore it. There's never is like the truth. And then there's your truth.
Mm-hmm. And you can
Very-
celebrate, right? When you allow, you celebrate. That's my experience.
There are very few universal truths.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. And when we get clear on them, what they are, right? We know like that's the way things will work. You know?
Yeah.
And I know that, yes, I agree with the situation is this today, but that is not where I want it to be.
Mm.
That is not like that can sound like I don't support you, but I think it's the fullest support that there is, that I'm not accepting it as it is today because I think it can be better. And I'm doing everything I can to make it better.
Mm. Mm.
I'm not doing any more and I'm not hiding from it.
sometimes I make it better, but most of the time for me, it's allowing it to be better.
See, the make is the force, right? It takes a force. When you allow it, it just appears and you just move through it.
Yeah.
Allowing is different than accepting.
Yes.
You can allow and disagree. So you're allowing a disagreement. Isn't that powerful? Now, here's the problem. The problem with that would people would have to say, look, I'm wrong, I'm bad. We don't look at that. It's never my fault. That's what the judger is doing. So that's just in the background. That's in today. It's not a truth, but it's in today's culture. Like that is what the culture has created. It's created a space that says I can't be wrong. So then we fight to be right. And until we see that, there's no door for an allowance.
Yeah.
You're stuck in judger, and a judger is an unresolvable situation. And I don't like unresolvables. They're a waste of our time. And so I came out, and my campfire from last night's still going. So I put some more wood on it, and it's all fired up. And it's nothing better than a warm campfire on a brisk morning.
That must have been quite some campfire if the coals were still burning this morning.
Yeah, no, it took the yeah.
So, Jesse, I'd like to say this. What I heard in your voice with your last statement before the campfire, I heard this. Please listen to me, because I have gone down the path that you are going down, and it did not serve me. And I really want you to hear just a little bit of what I am saying, so that you can come and experience what I can experience now. And compared to what I used to experience, what I experience now is amazing.
What a beautiful capturing, because I felt like that parental love in his expressions and Jesse's expressions. The saying, you don't have to sit and judge as long as I did, being ignorant or stupid or wasting time or whatever. The results can be had now. Let me crunch your time. You're aware enough to understand the quick road of the emotions. So if you choose, you can go through it quickly or slowly. But hey, the end results is fun. Meet me here, play with me here. Yeah, I got that.
I'm here either way.
That's very important to add.
This is what the campfire was for, even back in ancient time. Don't go hunting those saber-toothed tigers. They will get the best of you. I lost my arm and leg to that one of those.
Yeah, that 0.001%, right? You might have to go out after dark for that to happen. You might need to live in a shabby neighborhood, right? And I get that it happens. Accidents happen for purposes.
They can be for purposes, right? It depends on what we choose.
And there will be drunk drivers out there, but don't expect everyone to be drunk as they're driving their car.
It's taking a trip for what you want with some tools that will assist you along the way with awareness. But don't carry judgment and envy and jealousy and self-unforgiveness. Just leave all of that. Leave all of that. You don't need it on this journey. You don't need it. But some gratitude and some grace and some self-empathy, some allowing, some non-judgmental understanding and knowing when you are judging and when you're not judging. Take some of these tools will allow you to travel and get the more bliss, more of what you want out of life. Why carry judgment? You want more judgment? Self-hate and self-loathing. You want more of that? Then carry it with you. You'll attract more of it.
Mhm.
But
So
as soon as
true.
you come to those emotional things that just really take you down a grinder, at least understand the power of releasing it and letting it go. You can carry it a long time, or you can allow yourself to let it go with grace.
Yeah, if you go out identifying as a victim, then you'll find a lot of bullies.
Oh, yes.
If you go out thinking they're doing it to you, you're going to find a lot of them to do it to you.
Exactly.
Mhm.
We create our own ideas, good and bad.
That is a structure, and to see that structure is the only way out of it.
Mm.
But, yes. So, but people would have to admit that what they seen may be wrong. So that's where the I don't know is so important. Because the I don't
Yes.
know allows you to be right and wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
It will always diffuse a situation.
Mhm.
Now, surrendering to it in the moment, that's a whole nother practice. And trying to get someone else to admit it, yeah. It's very slow. And if there's two of them, I hope you've got a one. I hope you've got a second you can go to.
Mm.
I was going to say, hey, it was like, so at 7 o'clock this morning, I think about all the time, all the space that we take up recording these. And it's kind of like fun. It's like, screw you, Google. Yeah, I'm going to store my silence on your drive, on your server. Take that. Right, is like really take my information and make more money off it is really what I'm giving them permission to do, right, when I say that. But the truth is like the truth of it is like there's some sort of revenge in that I want, right? And it's like, it's just there. But it was like, so it was like, wow, the reason why was for 7 o'clock today. It's like when Allison provided me her authentic answer for me to try on, and fuck me, did I not like it. Because that would admit that I was wrong. And like that would take me having to admit that, and to speak those words would do wonders. Like would be amazing. And I still sit there and say, no, I can't do that. Nope. My fight to be right is that strong that I'm going to hold on to it rather than surrender to do that. Now, because I made some room for it today, I'm getting closer.
Exactly.
Mm. That's how we
And
get better at it.
The timing will reveal itself, and I will there will be I will make some move.
Mm.
And I will either be judged or not for it. Like that is the only way we know the progress.
Yes, and then we notice our charge when we get judged. And that is the most freeing. When you are getting that response, and especially if it's a 9 or 10 of venom that's getting spewed out at you, and you can sit there and not be charged and not go numb, but not be charged, you know that you've got something really valuable going on for yourself.
And you almost got to go numb to get there. But don't stay in the numb.
Yeah.
Don't make numb the new habit of avoiding it.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Because otherwise we get back to that.
The ego
And
will
also,
want that.
Yeah.
We can
And it's
also,
feeling
whatever
us.
people are telling you, you can say, that's their perspective, and
Yeah.
don't go into it.
Yeah.
And feeling the freedom of saying, oh, I was wrong.
Yes. Celebrating it.
Yes.
What an awareness.
Or
What possibilities does this wrong bring me?
Yes.
yeah.
New options.
Yeah.
New choices.
Okay. And sometimes, Sandral, it's not that you're wrong.
Yes.
It's that you chose what is. I don't want to use the word right because it limits it.
What serves me now?
What serves my orientation in terms of how I want to be able to proceed in life.
Yeah. If other people give you new information, it doesn't mean you were wrong. It just means you didn't have all the information.
You did your best with what you had.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we can see that's what everyone is doing, now we're getting closer to neutral.
Yes. Yes.
But neutral, where we accept, allow, like we care about it. There's meaning to it. So, like, is there really a neutral? Oh, yeah. The underlying one is love and compassion. Yeah. Authenticity, truth. Yes. Like those all have good, positive charges to them. So use it. Right? Meaning they're good patterns, right? There's good automatics we have.
Oh,
Not all automatics are bad. We just want to replace the bad ones with better ones or strengthen the good ones, because really the bad ones are just the opposite of the good one.
Yeah.
That's the shortcut. And yes, Allison, I love shortcuts, and it frustrates the hell out of me when people don't see my shortcuts because I am right. By the way, let's not forget that, please. But like how I know that, like, it's like I sit and wonder. It's like, I wonder, like, am I really behind? Truly, like in the conversation, am I behind? It could be. What would it look like? Well,
But
there would be
there
would be openness, and it's like, okay, there's no openness. All right, so who's ahead? Well, I say openness is better. So it's like, okay, well then I would say openness, like that's what I'd be looking for, because I believe openness is better than a fight.
Absolutely.
Look at how your shortcuts became your shortcuts.
Yes, demonstrations.
You had the full experience of the beingness, the knowingness, the ups, the downs, the twists and turns, da 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 da. And then you took the journey again and again and again, and new intuitions and awarenesses and understandings were enforced and invoked. And now what took you 28 steps now takes you 3 steps and 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you can
Yes.
tell me to go from 1 to 3 because this is the way. But I don't have the substantiation that supports that way, that visceral experience. So forgive me if I still got to go down left field just to get to the right.
Yes. And what I said, like I woke up this morning, and I was still in awe of it yesterday because I think it was part of it was still processing. Like yesterday was processing, and processing to me just feels like ripples. Like the water has just been, you threw a rock into the pond and there's just or the pool, because the pool has edges, right? Sides. So if it was me, it's like the pool, you throw something big into the pool and there, it sloshes for a while.
Mm-hmm.
That's processing. So like a big breakthrough, which was yesterday, processed. And what I sat with is like that, I called it a tassel. Like I named it a tassel. It's like a tassel, like our tassel in our relationship, our tassel could have been like, it was headed towards a fight, but our tassel, and it was like, that was the best tassel I've ever had. Wow.
What was it that made it the best tassel? Do you notice?
How I didn't chase the escalating emotion of anger.
Wonderful.
Now I did, but it wasn't as intense as ever before.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Now still didn't do very good, but there was Allison's cues were in my head, and it's like, oh, there it is. And so then it was like I could drop down a notch rather than go up a notch. That's all it was. I dropped down one notch as it was going up one notch. I wasn't matching it. Now, places I did, and it was like, oh, I shouldn't have said that afterwards. Right. But still, it was like, and I woke up this morning with it was like, that, and I even went, I went over what I noticed for me, and then I shared it with an observer, was like the key for me that I learned is that I don't have to hang on to this. So it's like the key to let it go. And it was like, wow, I could let it go because I didn't get wrapped up in my response.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's like forgiving. You let
Yes.
the emotion go. It's not like you let the knowledge go or the story go. You just let the emotion detach from the ego. So the ego didn't control the emotion.
And my whole point is like, I don't understand why you don't see I'm supporting you. Like that's not what I'm trying to do here. But I'm not taking this, and I think that it's like part of what I see is like, well, you're not taking my side. Oh, that's different. I try not to take a side. I mean, I don't know why I need to. I don't know. Like there's a. I don't know why I have to explain my side. It's like, isn't it obvious? So that's the difference between a man and a woman.
I'd say that. Yeah. And to recognize that, right?
Yep. And that's what makes it great. It's a great opposites attract. You're like the opposites. Yeah, the opposites. They attract and repel, right? It's like,
Exactly.
the thing is we have both of them. That's what it is. It's like we, at least two of them, because we're very complex. And we break it down into simples to see it, but then as soon as we go to complex, right, we lose the fundamentals. We get lost in the BS belief system that we've created.
I love that BS.
Yeah, I like that one too.
So I'm getting a gift out of the last 10 minutes of conversation. I think it was Annette asked Jesse a question, and I can't recall the question, but for me, I got an answer that when you put your whole truth out there, like being on a hot seat, whether you intentionally or on, put yourself on a hot seat, or a situation comes up, being authentic is being able to be on that hot seat and allowing the shifts, the new awarenesses to challenge you, like to get into the challenge of all that you are and all that you stand for and all that you don't know, like not having all the answers and letting it, iron sharpen iron. And I think that as long as you let your truth come up as it is, that's where you find your best authenticity of self. And sometimes it's admitting that some new awareness makes some old awareness really wrong for you, like really wrong for you. And to be able to say it, wow, I've been hanging on to this as the truth and I was wrong. And accepting that is that conviction, right? There's an inner conviction that happens, and not avoiding the pain of the conviction. It's an emotional vibration that challenges old emotional structure and be able to withstand the heat of the hot seat of the transformation, and do it because you don't want to not experience a higher evolution of truth. Because even if you don't accept it, you can't go back to what you was before you didn't know. And you don't want to. You don't want to go back.
That was beautiful put, Sandra.
The butterfly can't go back into the cocoon, no matter what it wants.
See? Nature.
Yeah.
Thank you, Allison.
Well,
because honestly, I know I'm holding on to some truths that are definitely holding me back. I just haven't gotten to them all yet. But I'm aware.
Exactly. So you're open. And that already gives you more space.
A lot of coaches, like I'll say superficial, because you hear it a lot, say, what has you stuck? And people will say, they're getting to their truth. They say, what's holding you back? And people say, me. That is a Pandora's box that warrants care and dignity and true heart, authentic coaching.
That's what we're doing here. We're peeling off the layers so we can see who we truly are.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Better and better.
But the care of the coaching part is, for example, of Jesse like coaching me and seeing that I can get there in 1, 2, 3, but understanding
I'm on 1F or 1Z. I got to do my journey. I got to, do my work from where I am to where I'm going. It's not rushing me. I think, I'll call it superficial coaching. We'll say, no, just do one. You're on one. Okay, now do two, do two, do two. You're doing two. Yeah, I'm doing two, but I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know how this plays out. I don't know how this feels. I don't know. I don't even know what this is. I'm doing it because that's what you told me to do to get to 3, and I want 3.
Sandrell, you just got to see it this way, and then you got to do this, and then you got to look at it this way, and then it should appear like this, and then it's got to be like this, and then you might tell yourself this, and then it would look like this, and then you would experience this, and then you would have that, and then it would go here, and then you go there, and then this and that, and then you'd finally get to this point where I'm at. You'd finally get to where I'm at, but I'm already well above you, so just keep paying me more.
Yep. Send you a bill. We'll send you a bill now.
Okay, I'm going back to
rather
1.
than this is what it looks like for me, and you may be farther ahead of me.
Yeah.
We're equal wherever we are. We're in our genius, and it's and it's like there's so much for me yet to learn from you.
Yeah.
That's what's missing in these artificial coaches. They think they have nothing to learn from you.
My great lesson from my students is when I felt, knew, and articulated to them, you teach me how to teach you.
And that is so true, because that is exactly what we do all over the place. We teach other people how to treat us.
And that's why coaches are unfulfilled, because they're fulfilling a world model, right? But they're unfulfilled because they're not getting it back.
And they're not allowing it back. And they've been told not to allow it back.
They're not allowing it back because, yep. So that's why both parties are unresolvable.
Yeah.
And that's what pisses me off the most when I go to these groups and you've got one person that, in the sense, from their point of view, is doing all the talk. Not from their point of view. They are doing all the talking, and there's no space for anyone else to contribute. Now what they'll say is like, well, you've got the chat. I do demonstrations with you. I show you how to do it. And it's like, yes, but you never let anyone else show you.
So that is my issue with going to church and preachers preach and the congregation sit there.
Yes,
And
same
they get
thing.
to say, yes.
Where did it come from? Was from there, right? It's like the coaching structure came from that.
I didn't connect that before, but true.
Everything has come from that. I mean, it's impacted us both sides of the aisle, or both sides of the door, whether you're in the church or on the outside of it.
Yeah. On the pulpit or on the floor.
The underlying message is do what I tell you, that kind of thing. And it's like there's no freeness in yours then.
It's accepting one reality instead of allowing all reality.
So did we not get the benefit of the story of the prodigal son? He couldn't go from A to B and be content and comfortable. He had to experience his own wilderness. That is humanity. And we respect that of each other. But Jesse, I still want to know what your 2 is when I'm on 1, because I'm going to use that as a symbolic sign that I'm making progress. What structure is that?
A demonstration.
Yeah. But who's to say your 2 is my elevation?
That's right. No one.
You are.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one to look at it, because then it gives us something to strive for, right? And if we're always looking down, then like there's nothing to strive. Like there's how do I say it? The where you there's where you want to be, and then it's where you compare yourself to it, right? In the sense, it's like, so I want to be neutral, equal with everything. What I'm aware of is where I'm not.
Ooh, let me be aware of where I am. That's power.
Yeah, and I find that it's easier, right? If it's like, because we have a automatic tendency, right? And
We losing you, Jesse?
is what I got. So I was just kind of pausing with, I wasn't sure where I'm going to take it. And it may not be mine to take.
We've seen many breakthroughs, lately, including myself. I had, several. And I think, or I feel that what we're doing here, we are exposing different sides of the ego, not to judge it and not to punish it, but to know, to be aware of it, and that's where, I think that's why so many breakthroughs lately. Yeah, we've been good at put a spotlight on the ego. We have to, not break it down, but
yeah. So well said. So
ego.
Say it again. Say it again.
Changing our ego to be our amigo.
It's a part of us. Yeah, it's there. It's to serve us. Not
to hold us back. Exactly. It's there to serve us, not hold us back.
So Hans, are you saying the ego is the amigo? Is that what I heard you say?
Yeah, transform it. Don't let it lead you, but ask its advice sometime.
Yeah. The ego, when it's not running you, because it's just going to do its automatic work, and it's going to do it, and it's going to do it more, and it's going to do it better, and it's going to do it stronger, and it's going to do it more consistently, and you can really, 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 really depend on it. But when we see the ego for the jewel of the, I'm thinking of like a train, and they putting the coals in, and it's, it keeps the train running. When you use the coals of the ego, and you are directing it based on the heart authenticity of what drives you, don't let the ego do the driving. It will drive. If you're not driving, it will drive you.
Exactly.
But when you drive it, it goes, okay, great. Now what do you want? Okay, that's where we're going. I'm with you 100%, 1000%, all the way. That's where we're going. Oh, we got a new direction now? Oh, okay, we're going to do this. The ego is really our friend. It's like when we're not handling our responsibility of our beingness, of ourselves, it's just going to keep running and doing what it's been doing, and do it 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 until there's no more doing to do. But I never saw it as that. The power of the ego is, when we harness the power of the ego, it's our partner. It's our
Exactly. The ego is like the white horse, you know. Don't try to ride a white horse, you know. You have to tame it first. It could be dangerous, you know, to ride a white horse.
But
you
it
have to-
yearns to be tamed. It
Yes.
yearns to cooperate with us.
Cooperate, yeah, yeah. You have to connect with it, and yeah, communicate with it.
Otherwise,
is-
the white horse can be frustrated. It's like, I still got to take the lead. I'm still in charge. Okay, I'm able, I'm capable, I'm doable. I'll do it. I'm doing it. I did it. I'll keep doing it. But it's nice when somebody else pays for dinner.
But when
The
you get the
ego is-
trust from the white horse, you know, it changed the, yeah. And then you get to be one with the horse, you know, a lot of power you have in your hands. So you can either serve us or break us.
It makes me think of the caterpillar in the cocoon. Right, so the cocoon is like the ego, and the butterflies, or the transformation of the caterpillar into the butterfly. And the butterfly has to break through the cocoon to really become a butterfly.
To become its authentic self.
Uh-huh. And have momentum.
Mm.
That was a great capture, guys. I really enjoyed that.
Whew, it's been a lot. It's been a good lot.
Yes, it has been.
I've had Thanksgiving. I'm gonna go sit in the park and rub my belly, rub my heart, and digest. This has been beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks, Cinderelle. Yeah. Thank you, Cinderelle. Have a great day.
Yes.
You all have a pleasant day. It's Scatman time.
All
Yes.
right. Yes. Bye, Heinz.
Love you all.
Love you.
Love you
Pleasant
all.
day.
I
Bye,
love you
all.
all. Bye,
Thank you so
Chi.
much.
Bye, G. Bye, Jesse.
Bye.
Have a wonderful
Bye,
day.
Allison.
Allison, tell Kyla that her name has been here. Love you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. You'll really be touched by that. Thanks. Bye.